We're here today at the University of Miami campus at the Division of Continuing and International Education with one of the leading experts in innovation today, Mariana Ferreira.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Great. We're so happy that you're here today to share your insight on this whole topic of innovation. What exactly is innovation about?
Well, it's a great question because, as a matter of fact, innovation became one of the most used words in the English and management language lately. So it is a great question that you ask, what is innovation about? And innovation is such a broad thing and it's such a broad topic. But basically, if we have to summarize what it is about, it's about creating new things or doing things in a new way. So that can include, you can innovate in marketing, you can innovate in processes, you can innovate in product development, you can innovate in finance, you can innovate in business models, you can innovate pretty much on everything. And what we'll see is that now what companies really need to do is to innovate in everything they do. And that's why we're producing this Total Innovation Program.
Okay, great. As you said, this is something that management should actually start getting into. Why innovation became almost the most used word in management?
Well, see, each decade, from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000 decade, each one was characterized in the business, by a different issue. Like, for example, in the 90s, we were speaking about total quality management. You might remember the TQM. It became such a big thing, you know, about managing quality and getting the right quality measures within a company. So in the the decade of the 2000, what we really saw in the business was that many thousands of products were developed. New products came out to the market faster than in any decade before. So during the 2000 to 2010, which we're still in, what we saw was an enormous amount of new products being developed and being brought to market. Now, that is a way of innovating, of course. I mean, new product development is one of the main things. But now, why we're seeing innovation in every single business document is because companies really need to move beyond product development and become total innovative organizations in order to compete. Because now the markets are open, we're connected with China, with Brazil, with India, with every single market, and you never know where is innovation coming from. So really what companies need to do is watch out for innovative things going outside of their boundaries, and also become total innovative organizations, because we need to innovate in every single step of a company and in every single area of a company to make it more efficient, to make it more competitive, and especially to compete in the next decade.
Okay, great. And to be able to compete in the next decade, as far as a process, is there one for innovation?
Well, definitely there is a process for innovation, and although people think, you know, that innovation is something that happens only in certain type of organizations, like technology companies, for example, you might think of innovation and you would think of Apple or you would think of Google. But really, innovation, as any other management tactic, it has a process, and the process starts by the intent to innovate. And the intent to innovate is where a leading company would say, okay, we want to innovate because we want to lead the future. We don't want to follow what others decide for us to follow. We don't want to be followers. We want to be leaders on our industry. And that's when innovation becomes so important. So the process starts by the intent to innovate, and then it finishes with income, because everything you do in any organization needs to bring new income to the table. So forget about creativity, and I think it is important to make sure that we separate and we make a difference between innovation and creativity. Creativity, I always say, it's a tool for innovation. It's like advertising to marketing, or new product development to marketing. You know, it is a tool for innovation, but creativity and great ideas are not innovation. Innovation are those great ideas put into market, effectively implemented, that bring new income to an organization. So that is innovation.
Great. Mariana, as you know, we are streaming live, and one of our online viewers have asked this question to you. How to measure innovation? Can it be measured?
Well, there are many things to your question, to the viewer's question. One is, innovation has to be measured. Now, why it has to be measured? Because everything that it is important in a company or in an organization is measured, right? So we measure sales because they are important. We measure client loyalty because it is important. We measure our market share because that's important. We measure efficacy because that's important. So if you think that innovation is important, you better start measuring it. If you don't have a measurement for innovation, then it's because innovation, it's not yet important in your organization. Now, how is innovation measured? That is a whole different thing, because innovation has to be measured according to the objectives of innovation each industry has. And then in each industry, innovation can be measured in a different way. You cannot measure innovation the same way in a consumer company, in a consumer-based company, as in a life sciences company. Why? Because if you're going to speak about innovation in new product development, the time to market of each industry is so different, or in a pharmaceutical company, it's so different. So in each area of the organization and in each type of industry, innovation has to be measured differently. Now, it has to be measured, it can be measured, and you should measure it.
Okay, great. He also asked, how can you stimulate innovation in a workplace when your company is not Google, Apple, Pixar? Is that possible?
Well, definitely it is possible. And we have very good examples of companies that they're not Google and they're not Apple and they're not Pixar, that, you know, that they can be very, very good examples of innovation. There's a company, for example, there's a company that's called DSM that it started in 2005, a total innovation approach. And that company decided to refocus their business strategy and focus in different segments of the industry that were more, that they had more growth potential. So they focused on that, but also they embedded innovation in the entire organization. Now, what you should do to bring your company to become more innovative, the first thing you have to do to know is that innovation is not about products, it's about people. And innovation, it's not about money, but it is about people. So the first, if you have to decide in your organization who should you send to an innovation workshop, it's human resources. Now, you might be surprised, but human resources really should be owning innovation in a company, because innovation is about people. So it's great that you send your employees to leadership programs, because leadership is really important in an organization, but innovation, it's about people. So you better start training your people to become innovative. And then you should be asking your human resources department to design an innovative work behavior strategy, because what you need is employees committed to innovation with an innovative work behavior. So that's what you can do as an executive to get yourself to be Google without selling technology.
Okay. Also, we have here, what challenges companies face for the decade to come?
Wow, challenges. I think there are many. There are many challenges and there are many opportunities as well. Challenges is becoming a total innovative organization. Challenges are, for me, from my point of view, is moving beyond the product development. It was great to compete in the 2000s with new product development. But guess what? In the United States, where we have measures about everything, there are 30,000 completely new consumer products put out to market every year. Now, according to the Consumer Association, the new product intake by consumers in the US, it's about 5. So there are 30,000 new products each year, which we are trying 5. And this is a country where everything is tried. This is a country where people are very innovative. So it's great or it's necessary to innovate in product development, but for the decade to come, you need to gear your organization to becoming total innovative organizations. Now, you need to innovate in business models. We're going to see a lot of changes on business models. We're going to see a lot of changes in pricing structures. I just saw from Brazil a new model of pricing that it's incredible, and a new retail model where people actually go into a store and get things completely for free. Now, that is a new business model, and we should be looking towards that. Also, we can see in India a new refrigerator, for example, that it only costs $69. A new completely refrigerator, which on the other hand has an added value for India, which is that it can work without electricity for over 12 hours. Now, that is innovation in product and in pricing and in retail models. We have Nespresso, not to mention Apple, but we have Nespresso being one of the most successful business models in the 2000 decade. Nespresso's profits are about 30% in a mature industry like coffee. So those are the challenges that companies will face. I mean, you have to really be creative and innovative in things beyond product development. The other opportunity that I see for the next decade, it's Brazil. Everybody's speaking about China and everybody's speaking about India. And we know Brazil is one of the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. But Brazil has many differences to China, to India, and to Russia. The first one is that it is going to host the most important sports tournaments in the world, the Olympics, the World Cup, the Soccer World Cup. It's also going to host the Soccer Latin Regional Cup, which is a big thing there. Now, why is this important for innovation? And you might think, okay, what does it have to do? Innovation is really led by consumers, and innovation is really led by clients. And when you have these world tournaments being held in a country, what happens is that people travel a lot there. And once they travel, they taste new flavors, for example, that then they want to bring back home. And that's how innovation, for example, in consumer-led industries start happening. We're seeing here in the United States and elsewhere in Europe, for example, an enormous amount of Peruvian food and Peruvian restaurants now. Why is that? Because Peru really started some years ago promoting tourism, and then we see Chilean wines being sold everywhere. Why? Because Chile had from the 80s they had an export strategy that brought Chilean wines to the dining table of countries where we could invest in Chile. So in the next decade, what we're going to see is a lot of influence coming from Brazil. With one more thing to add to Brazil is that they have a Western culture, and that compared to China, for example, it's very important, because the fact that Brazilians are European based, it's that they share the same culture we have, and that makes it for them easier to sell as products. So I think, and Brazilians are very innovative also. So I think that we will see there in Brazil a lot of innovation coming from that market.
Okay, we also received another question from one of our online viewers. And this individual said, I've been in the workforce for 35 years and have up and down periods of creativity. However, I think it's not unusual that I've developed selected patterns of how I work. How can I challenge those patterns, even if they are successful, to move my thinking to the next level?
There are ways of doing it, and it's great that after being for so many years in the workforce and having successful patterns of doing things, that you want to challenge them. That is the first thing I have to say. Congratulations, because there are not many people that want to challenge their patterns. As a matter of fact, I measured innovation capacity some years ago, and the one thing we could tell was that people in the workforce, they review their objectives, but they don't review their strategies. And what you're proposing here is that you want to review your patterns and your strategies to getting things done. So yes, it can be done. That's the first thing. Thinking outside of the box, it's usually easier when you step outside of the box. So how do you step outside of the box being inside of the box? Now, we can help you on that. There are some tools that I recommend also for creativity. There are some applications for smartphones. They're really, really good to help you think creatively. And then the one thing I have to say is, when you want to change your pattern, the first thing you have to do is do whatever you do in a normal day, like brushing your tooth, do it with the other hand. If you're right-handed, do it with your left hand. If you drive and you take the same road to work every day, just change your way and come in from a different way. And once you start shifting those routines that we get ourselves into, you'll see that it's much easier to think creatively. The other thing is that to think creatively, you have to stop and you have to pause. And lately, we're finding that we have less pauses in life. Why? Because normally we think creatively when we're under the shower. And you know that many years ago they invented these radios for under the shower, which I think they should be taken out of the market, because they just disturb the way that we think in one moment of peace that we have in the morning or at night whenever you shower. Second thing is that we think creatively. We did think creatively a while ago while we were driving, but what's happening now? Everybody's on the phone while driving. So that half hour that we were driving to work every day, it was a creative moment that it's been taken away by phone. So I'm after the, you know, I fully support the bans on not speaking on the phone while driving, not even with a Bluetooth. And if they haven't banned it in your city, just ban it for yourself, because you know that is a great creative moment. And then just take our course, because here, you know, we will have workshops that we will teach you how to step out of the box and think creatively and change your patterns. That's all we want to achieve and do.
Great. Is there something specific that would or can trigger innovation?
I always say innovation is triggered by need. And when I say innovation is triggered by need, is take as an example yourself. You're a top executive, you're making good salary. We know innovation is about risk and that you should assume a risk to innovate. Why are you going to innovate and why are you going to assume a risk if nothing is going to change for you? And this is the challenge companies have, and this is why starting a total innovation program is so important, because you need to fully back your executives up on innovation. Now think that an executive like yourself will be facing, you know, a challenge and would decide, okay, should I innovate or should I not? If I innovate and it's successful, what's my gain? What's my stake? Am I going to make a larger bonus? Am I going to be paid a larger salary? Is my career going to improve in any way or not? The answer should be yes. Now, the answer usually is no, and that is one of the problems why companies do not innovate, because, as executives, you don't have the need to innovate. Now, if you don't innovate and your company goes down, and we have seen many of those in the 2000 decade, if your company goes down, then, yes, of course, it might be a problem for you. But what's the stake? And innovation, what we were saying is it's triggered by a need, and by need it's by a personal need and by a corporate need. So you should have the need yourself, and you should create the need for your corporation. India is a very innovative country, and when you visit India, you'll see that people are innovative because they have the need that brings the desire and brings the intent to do things differently, to produce different results, and that's what you need to feel. So innovation is triggered by need. When employees are very comfortable and when everybody is living a great life in corporate life, then there's no need. And when there's no need, there's no innovation. And you can just establish an objective to innovate, and you can provoke innovation by motivating employees to innovate. But if they're still in their comfort zone, forget it. there's no innovation without need.
Okay. Why is Miami an important hub for innovation training?
I think Miami, it is a great hub for innovation training. I think it can become the best hub in the United States for innovation training. Why? Because it has a linkage of cultures. Everybody comes to Miami, not only the people that live in Miami, that they come from different backgrounds, but also it links a lot of cultures. It links Latin America, that now it's going to become, during the decade to come, it's going to become a very important market. It links Europe, and it links the United States. So I think that innovation, it's also triggered by variety, and the more you know, the more you experience, the more you learn, the more you're out there, the more innovative you can be. Why? Because you just connect the different dots, and when can you connect the dots? When you have a broad experience. So that's Miami. That's what Miami is offering. It's offering an array of different cultures that melt together here in this place, which is, on the other hand, is a great place to be. So innovation, Miami can become definitely an innovation hub for training purposes.
What makes a company here in Miami more innovative than others?
Well, there are many issues around what makes a company more innovative, regardless if they're in Miami or if they're elsewhere in the world. What makes a company more innovative, basically, there are three pillars to innovation. One, it's your employees' talent. And employees, we found in 2008 in a study we did in Spain that only 2.98% of employees have a talent that they will innovate regardless of where they work for. So you have the context of innovation, which it can be the company, and you have the person. So the person is influenced by that context. Now we found that only 2.98% of people are not influenced by context, and they would innovate even if they're working in organizations like a government, for example. It's kind of bureaucratic. So employee talent is one of the three dimensions. Then innovative work behaviors and the extent to which a company promotes innovation among their employees, it is the second dimension. The third dimension, it's innovation practices, and innovation practices relate to does the organization have objectives of innovation? Is there a strategy to innovate? Have innovation being clearly defined? Do your employees know where to innovate? In which areas for you innovation is more important? Do you collaborate with your external constituencies to innovate? Do you produce, do you have an open source of innovation? Do you innovate from clients, or do you just have a great idea and you bring it forward to the market? So there are many issues around what makes a company more innovative, but those 3 dimensions are the ones that should be taken care of.
Is innovation something you can channel in a structured workshop?
Well, yes, and it depends. I'm not going to say yes and no. I'm going to just say yes, and it depends. Yes, you can teach innovation, but really you have to experience innovation. So you can learn it through a structured course if and only the course is innovative. If the course, it is just a course, yes, you might get some more knowledge and gain some knowledge, of course. But what you really need to do is experience the thrill of innovation, experience that feeling of how great it feels to define the need, bring your ideas forward, investigate and do the research, decide in a different way because you are not going to have all the facts. So intuitively decide, to go forward, implement and generate new income. So I think that yes, it can be structured, and I think that you can learn innovation in a workshop. Yes.
How can you deliver a course on innovation in an innovative way?
You'll have to come to my courses. I'm not going to reveal that information. No, yes. I think that the key thing is just making an innovative experience. And I think that whenever you do a course on innovation, you have to put a lot of passion in it, because innovation, it's not easy. It's really hard, and you'll find, if you're an innovator, you'll find that many doors are slammed on your face, and you have to be resistant and resilient and have a lot of passion and drive to innovate. So how can you create an innovative course